Hold up. Nice. Let's get gassed. Lysergics. That's a lot of energy. That was nice. I wasn't expecting that off the rip. First track in, we're getting that hot heat fire. We are really loud. It is coming in like negative 1.5 luff, which is really loud. I mean, I would try to get that perfect range of like negative 3 luffs so we can turn it up as loud as possible. And when it's louder, our ears can handle it, plus it has more energy because it's just more intense and it's louder. So those are things to think about. It's saying at 1 luff is it's making it hard to turn it up to its fullest intensity. So check the mix that way. That's going to help. Overall flow and energy is really good. You have a cool second drop too. I think it's a little bit slower. I'm gonna check. So you slow it down for the second drop, and the way you slowed it down, it worked well. The transition into it worked well. That was cool. This fake out right here, this is good. But what makes it good is like this, how the fake out ends, right? Like this little transition element into the drop. With the vocal on the bass, very nice. Now, when you try to like take a step back and listen to everything, that siren alarm thing is pretty loud in the mix. It's almost as loud or louder than your main bass leads. So I would really try to EQ those in a way or turn them down to make sure that they're supporting the main leads rather than like competing with it. That will help. We want the spotlight to shine on those basses for sure. I was trying to see if I could get the overlay right now, but it's too cropped for Ableton, so we're just going to leave it this view. Cool. So I think this is pretty nice. Overall, there's not much that needs to be done except really clean up the mix, you know. Too loud is not always the best thing. Loud enough is the best thing so that we can get super clean and be able to push it as loud as possible. I really like the vocals and I really love these melodic elements. I mean, all this sounds nice and professional. And these respaces, obviously, like you're kind of just like thrown right into the festival. Nice. Cool. So if you need help with the mix too, like if you're sending everything to the master, right now, you just have to make sure that you're EQing like every single track and knowing exactly what frequencies you're EQing. And if it's difficult, then you can bus everything separately and do like what Skrillex does and send all your frequencies to separate buses and then to your master so that you can like arrange and clean up before it gets to the final output. That's what I do right now, and it's super clean. So just look at my template video if you need to get that template with all the routing. You can just download it for free. The Dripment template video. Cool. Easy. Good job, dude. That's what I'm talking about. Up next, we got Crit with Astronaut in the Ocean. Look at this cover art. This is an astronaut, and I believe he is in the ocean. That's very nice, very cool. Let's go.
Astro, no.
Oh.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. Ay, what you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the cool. That's right. I'm like, yeah, that's true. I believe in G-O-D, don't believe in T-H-O-T. She keep playing me dumb, I'm a player for fun. Y'all don't really know my mental, let me give you the picture like stencil. Falling out in a drought, no flow, rain wasn't pouring down. See that pain was all around, see my mode was kinda lounge. Didn't know which way to turn, flow was cool but I still felt burned. Energy up, you can feel my surge, I'ma kill everything like this purge. Let's just get this straight for a second. I'ma work, even if I don't get paid for compression. I'ma get it, everything that I do is electric. I'ma keep it in motion, keep it moving like kinetic. Put this shit in a frame, better know I don't blame everything that I say. Man, I see you deflate, let me elevate. This ain't a prank, have you walking on a plane? Both hands together, God, let me pray. I've been going right around, call that relay. Pass the baton, back in the mall, swimming in the pool, can't drink them all. Want a piece of this, a piece of mine, my piece of sign. Can you please read between the lines? My rhymes inclined to break your spine. They say that I'm so fine, you could never match my grind. Please do not waste my time. What you know about rolling down in the
Brain
goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. Ay, what you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean.
Ocean. Cool. That's the Crit Flip of the Astronaut in the Ocean song by Masked Wolf. I've heard that song before. A lot. I just never knew the name or the name of it or the artist who did it.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb.
So when this came in, it was unexpected. Felt pretty nice.
Deep when your brain goes.
So it doesn't feel big enough, loud enough. So we're gonna check the LUFS.
Deep when your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that.
So we're peaking at about -7.8 LUFS, which is fairly quiet for a dubstep song like this. You know, we really want to be hitting like -6, -5 for like this genre. So we need to get a little bit louder. You don't necessarily have to hit -3 for this because it's not really like heavy tearout, crazy intense, heavy metal dubstep or whatever. It's just more chill, vibey, wubby dubstep. So we have more headroom here. This -7.8 or -8 is around like how loud house tracks are, minimum. So you really need to be louder if we're going to be making, you know, bass music. The vocal, like the original acapella, it's playing throughout the whole drop. So like your basses, the bass sounds that you've made, you've created a rhythm and a flow with them. But then the acapellas above it are like doing their own flow and rhythm. So you have to like chop up those acapellas or create some silences or delete some sections and have those acapellas flow with the bass sounds that are being played in this drop. Because in the drop, the basses are the most important thing. This vocal is just more like extra flavor to it. So we got to make sure you don't just let the vocal play out. You have to arrange it so it's flowing and in the same groove as your basses. So let's see here. So like you have like a little call here. It goes boom, and after the boom, we go faster, and then it loops back. So it's only a 2-bar phrase. So right off the rip, you're putting yourself in a hard position because you're only looping the same 2 bars over and over again. So it's automatically going to get repetitive and predictable over time, and you'll start to lose flow and energy because of this. So always start with doing 4-bar phrases. So make sure that the loop that you're creating in the drop is a 4-bar phrase instead of 2 bars here. So this thing here, the other boom, should be looping back at 17, but it's actually looping back every 2 bars. So that's one issue. After you extend it to a 4-bar phrase, then the vocal will be a lot easier to fit in, and then you'll just fit it in like with each sound. So the vocal would do something unique here during this boom. Maybe remove the wind. Maybe pitch it down, add some effects. You have to do something to these acapellas during the drop so they don't sound dry and regular. Right now, it's not really flowing. You know, you have a flow underneath, but we're losing the rhythm of it because of the acapella. And then because this beat that you made isn't the original instrumental of the song, the flow doesn't hit as hard as the original beat of the song. So you have to be like real careful with when you're using these acapellas and making flips and stuff so that you can create something unique, but also make sure people are dancing and you're creating energy with it. Right now, all the dynamics are basically lost because of how everything's just playing at the same time, and we've lost a lot of the dynamics, which is the difference between like the loudest and the quietest sounds. And sections like this is very empty. Can you please read between the lines? My rhymes inclined to break your spine. They say that I'm so fine, you could never match my grind. Please do not waste my time. So like I would really start to incorporate more EDM elements, you know, synths, respaces. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can add in this to make it, you know, high energy. We need to add energy and make it not sound like the original. You got to make it sound unique so that people can go back to your flip and re-listen to it because like, oh, dang, I've never heard anything like this. Plus, he's using the song I love, Astronaut in the Ocean by Masked Wolf, obviously. Nice. All right, cool. That's crit flip. Next, we have reg_3.mp3 by Bio Sorcerer's Crew. Naturally and casually. Let's enter. Dun, 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 dun. All right, cool. That is reg_3 by Bio of the Sorcerer's Crew. Ha! Okay, cool. I don't know if that's how you enunciate, or, you know, that's probably not how you say Sorcerer's Crew. Sorcerer's Crew. But, you know, you got to put some twang on that. All right, so let's get to the things that need to be fixed right away. So whenever we're listening to the song, it's important that the listener doesn't have to change the volume on on our source, which is the MacBook or the iPhone or interface. Like that's almost like a big no-no, because when you're listening on like SoundCloud streaming, you kind of just leave the volume the same, which is good for your ears. And then all the songs you listen to are like ready to go based on your genre. You know, you can expect different loudnesses for different genres. So when you're making something like this, if it's super quiet in the beginning, which is like, this is almost like movie dynamics. Like in cinematic movies, that's kind of the only places where we get this quiet, where the dynamics go from super quiet to like super loud in movies, right? Because like we're trying to scare people, and it's not really like music. But when we're listening to music, we have to make sure that we don't, because like at the beginning, it's really quiet. So automatically we turn it up really loud, okay? And then when you hit us with -24 LUF, transition into -4 LUFs, that's like really dangerous, because you could really damage people's hearing. You could like, it could be so abrupt that people might not want to come back and listen to the track, because they know it's going to be loud in your drop, so they're not going to turn it up in the intro. But then all of a sudden the intro is like super quiet, so then like you have these weird just dynamic discrepancies. Basically, in the intros, they should never be as quiet as -24. They should be like -15 LUFs minimum, which is as loud as podcast vocals, like on Spotify. Which obviously your music should be louder than vocals. So then I recommend like -12 LUFs should be your minimum for a dance track. And then from -12 LUFs, you gradually increase, and then boom, hit them with the 4 LUFs. And then we won't have to turn up anything. Everything will just be nice, leveled, and good. One other big thing here is that when we listen to this track, the rhythm and the groove feels almost forced. And I was trying to figure out why, but then I figured it out. It's the BPM's at 180 beats per minute. And what we're doing is writing like trap drums, hip hop drums, and then like the 808 as well as the trap hip hop 808. So when they're playing really fast compared to normal, and it feels very unnatural. It feels very forced and almost too fast. When we're making songs at 180 beats per minute, it's usually drum and bass, because we can use all the drum breaks and stuff to play at 180 beats per minute, which is the super fast. And then we can have everything split in halftime too. That's like how drum and bass is made. But right now, that's not really what's happening here. It's more just like a hip hop beat that's sped up at 180 beats per minute. So it's just playing just really too fast, and it feels very hard to catch a groove to, because it's just like just almost getting shot at you. Cool. And then this whole track is about 44 bars here. So about 44 bars, you kind of play the same melody to dun 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 dun. Like you have to switch up that melody. Remember, repetition, when things are repetitive, that means it's predictable. And if we can predict it, like if our brain can predict what's going to happen next and it's not a surprise anymore, then the music becomes less interesting and energy levels start to literally die down. So you have to take people on a journey and go from that cool melody that you made to something cool and different, and then go back to the cool melody that you made, and then you go back and forth, and that's creating movement, you know, melodically, harmonically. Those are things you need to think about so that we can re-listen to it and it has a lot more energy. Otherwise, I think that's it. I would be definitely recommending going under 160 beats per minute. And if you do 180, start studying like how drum and bass is created and how they use their timings with 180 beats per minute, because it's a lot faster. Music's made differently up there, for sure. Well, we're about to do it. I'm about to make lots of drum and bass tutorials. I'm about to go hard in the paint in them. I love it. All right, cool. Good job, Bio. Getting it done. Oh, next we got Angla with Fapon or Fapon or Fapon. Nevertheless, let's get it on.
And who are you, my little friend? Not a spoon, not a fork, something in between. Up a plate.
Will you think of next, Johnny?
Ooh, boy.
Something in between. Up a plate. Up a plate. And who are you, my little friend? Not a spoon, not a fork, something in between. Up a plate. What will you think of next, Germany?
Yeah, Germany for real, dude. I don't know if you guys know, but the Germans run this music shit. Undoubtedly. Why? Ableton Live is made. Germany. These headphones, Bear Dynamic. Germany. Dude, they just know engineering. They know what's good. Anyways, this song. As soon as we listen to it, it feels kind of empty. As soon as these subs start coming in, it feels nice.
And who are you, my little friend?
I would definitely have these subs rolling and like playing intro all the way up and kind of like gradually remove the subs. So then when the drop hits, boom, we get hit with the subs again. The sub, just the overall sub in the track feels really nice. It's like real trippy almost. The hats on top and the tops, they're adding so much movement. It's really good. So this simple quarter note flow, the bump, bam, bump, bump, bump. You have slight variations in the pitch, and that's really all we need to just keep it moving, keep a good groove. It's simple, yet we're getting everything we need here. Overall, though, it's not really loud enough. I mean, it sounds loud enough, feels loud enough because we turn it up accordingly. But if you, like let's say you're DJing, you played your favorite rhythm tracks and then you put on your tune, and then all of a sudden your tune's like lower in volume, it just feels lower energy. We just can't have those things happening. They need to be a little bit louder. I mean, like 2 to 3 LUFS is really all you need because we're at -8 LUFS. So just get around -6, -5, and that's a healthy spot to be. And remember, I mean, obviously when you start making things louder, it starts to sound like shit. So that's kind of like the whole point of mixing and mastering is how do we get our songs to sound super loud, but super clean at the same time? And once again, like I said earlier, that's based on EQ, compression. You have to be like super hyper aware of how your frequencies are being played with each sound and how your EQ works, which is difficult. And then also how compression works and how you're layering and you're stacking and how the stereo image is affecting everything. You could simplify all that by just busing the frequencies to separate buses, kind of like how the mastering and the mixing engineers do in professional audio. That's really easy to do. That's what Skrillex does, and that's what I recommend. That's what I do. Once again, check out the template video if you need to get that template for free. I have that for download, so you guys can get that. When we get over to the second track, we got a little bit of drum and bass grooves going on. Energy speeds up. This is nice. Sounds are kind of going all over the place. Some are like high, some are low. I would really try to glue them together with compression so that they're, around the same volume and they're not like such big differences. Like group all the basses, compress them together, minimal compression. That's really all you need. And then the overall like muddiness. So the frequency buildup from 100 hertz to 200 hertz is really prominent over here. So you want to make sure you're looking at each individual track, turning it down in those areas. You'll basically like find one track to control that area, 100 to 200, and then the rest of the tracks will be cut from those frequencies so that you can clear up room, clear up space. Like stuff like that is just wet and crazy. You had me do the bass phase, little shitty bass phase about 3 times in this song, so bravo, mister. Good job. I like this track. This is nice. I think that's about it. Cool. You could add some like vocals and stuff too in the beginning, some like crazy reverb, delayed vocals, and add space and ambience. That'll be nice. Awesome. Cool. Next is opetic or opetic. I just do not know. Maybe put one of the pronunciation things in the chat so I can hopefully remember. But this one is a saucy one. Clip. Check out this sauce. This guy has the sauce. What sauce is this? Marinara sauce? I'm doing my guess. Final guess. Run it. Exquisite. That is a bit saucy. Looks like we got a little bit of a dash of some of that sauce in here. We're gonna run this back a little bit right here. Pussy. Okay, we got good flow, good groove, lots of bounce. This is one of the most important things here in music is getting people to dance, and the things that he's doing right here to make it bounce and flow, you guys got to check. So like once it starts, see how the sub like fades out and then the snare hits. So like we're playing with the snare because remember we're dancing to that snare. That's what we're headbanging to. So if everything is like grooving around this 3, the point 3, which is the snare, see how the other bass flows into the next snare. So these are the things that are getting the groove, and then dynamic shifts. So like, see how the sub's getting removed here. Then we go back. So good call and response, nice dynamics. These things are important. One thing that you could do to improve this transition though is a dynamic shift right here. So like a vocal shot. I mean, we're listening to robotic sounds this whole time right here, and you're transitioning with robotic sounds. So if you have a shift with like a regular sound, like a vocal, a voice, or cool effects, like a weird sound, this is where you can get creative. A gunshot, a gun cock, like there's so many different options, but you want to just have a nice big dynamic shift right here from loud to almost quiet, and then boom, get hit with the drop, and that'll add even more energy to what is here. The most important thing though is like the main bass lead guns are like really low volume, very low energy. They're not powerful enough. We need to layer them more, stack them more. The synths that are on top of it are actually way louder. They have the spotlight, and then the little guns are like kind of, you know, tucked in behind, which is just sad, man. Those guns need to come out. They need to come out and play. So it's like that. So even like right here, you can hear bum, 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 like that rhythm, that sound. Bum, bum. Like this sound compared to the synth on top. That synth is way louder, much more powerful. So we have to really start stacking these. You're going to layer them in multiple ways. First, separately by frequency spectrum, which is lows, mids, highs. And then you layer by stereo image, mono signal, and then a wide signal. And then that's like 5 layers right there that you can have for your one main lead sound, plus the sub, which is the 6th. And then boom, you have and then on top of that, if you get the sub and the guns and you clip them together in a group with saturator or a G clip, and you push them to their limits, that's when you start getting that real gritty, intense sound that we hear all the time now in dubstep. So do that too. That's gonna help. Otherwise, I like this flow, man. I like this. This is a good one. This is a saucy one. That's a saucy. That's big sauce. Aight. Up next, we got Hold On, Death Pact. Oh, but it's the Zenile remix. I think that's how you say it. Is an XZ? Probably. Okay. Well, we got a little blue ball right there then. Okay then. No second drop, but I must say, this vocal that you're doing here, that's cool. The overall energy that you build up before the drop is pretty amazing. It's pretty intense. You do very good. You build up a lot of tension and energy, but then when you hit us with the drop, it's very low energy and there's not a lot of flow going on here in the drop. So I want to explain like what's going on here. Like you have a great fake out, an amazing vocal fill to lead us into the drop. I mean, the amount of tension and energy you build up, like you have to deliver that same amount of energy at this drop. And because of the way the basses are structured and they're flowing, there's not enough groove and flow and there's not enough energy to match what was played previously. So the reason is because the call and response is off. So let's go ahead and analyze call and response here. Man, this was so close to being a banger. Okay, so this is our loop right here, which is 4 bars. 4-bar phrase is proper. That's the amount of time that we need to be working in, but we have to have a lot of movement and energy happening within this 4-bar phrase. Now we're going to find the downbeat here. So as soon as this drop comes and this pre-drop happens, you kind of just throw us straight into the main like motif of the song, which is the main response. It should be the response. So what should be happening is kind of like I said previously, you have to be working with the snare. The snare, that 0.3, the thing that we're dancing to, that we're headbanging to, is the most important thing in this song, in all of our songs, because that's the bass, B-A-S-E, of the rhythm. So with that in mind, we play this and our first snare happens right here. But instead of us like getting thrown into the dance, like as soon as this first snare hits, that's when we start dancing, literally. That's when, as soon as we hear that, we're like, okay, all right, damn, oh. And before this snare hits, it has to be like an amazing transition into this snare. And you almost had it. So like right here, you have the fake out to the vocal. But we get thrown into the synth and the basses right away. It just starts the main rhythm, bum, 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 which it can't do that. It has to play something unique, something new, something fresh. Like Virtual Riot, for example, he would put a chord here, right? So it'd be like, bum, like a long sustained happy chord. But what you can do is just like get a sound that's longer. So you have like a long, big sound at the beginning that flows into the snare. And then as soon as that snare hits, that's when we start this main rhythm, the quarter note flow. And then as soon as that last snare hits, right before your phrase restarts, this is the fill section. And see how you added like your own little fill? So that's good. So these fills though, do you see how it's as loud as everything before it and after it? The fills will not be as effective if they're this intense in energy and this loud in volume. If there was a dynamic shift and it goes like quieter, vocals, maybe you're removing frequencies, there's many things you can do, but you have it go from loud to quieter, back to loud. And then when it goes back to loud, it's even more intense and more impactful. So check it here. So this is one example. It sounds like shit because it's time stretched, but you'll see like if you extend it and kind of build a flow into the snare, you're going to get good results. Cool. So because you didn't do that and you throw us straight into your quarter note flow, after the 4 bars, it becomes repetitive because we kind of know exactly what's going to happen each time. So as soon as this 4 bars ends, the energy levels start to go down dramatically. And because we did not get thrown into the snare properly, the whole overall energy of the drop is almost half the energy of what you built in your intro and your build up. It's very hard to build energy like this in your intro and your build up and your breakdown. So I applaud you for that. Just remember, transitioning this energy level into this drop is going to be super important, and that's what's going to make this a fucking banger. People are going to be going crazy. Let me know. Hit me up if you need help with the call and response. I do lessons too, guys. If you guys need private lessons, if you guys need to get the learn on, you know what I'm saying? Get your learn on. All right, cool. So now we have execution with bullets.exe. Ha! Simply, let's go. Whoa. Aye, that's cool. That's cool. All right, that's execution with bullets.exe. This is the cover art. Looks like a barbed wired throwing grenade. Very good. Now, there are some things that need to be improved upon this to make it a lot more, insane. The overall flow is sick. Like, we have some nice flow going on here. The vocals as well add good energy. The vocals, though, they sound like this whole spotlight's on them. It almost sounds like this is supposed to be a song where your dubstep song is the instrumental and then the vocal is like the main star of the show, which it shouldn't be. Your guns are the stars, like these main basses. And the main basses feel very almost thin and low energy because it's not loud enough. So if you have a nice mono layer and a stereo layer, this is going to help a lot. Plus, you're going to want to layer by frequency spectrum, lows, mids, highs. If you listen to the frequencies that are being played with your guns, it's more just like high frequencies and a little bit of mids and then you have the big old sub. So there's like a lot of space still available. It almost sounds empty and contained, like there's still available space that you're not filling up with the frequency spectrum. So make sure that your basses are big, thick, loud. Clip them with your sub if you want to. That can help a lot. Like these switch ups and rhythm right here are good. It really keeps it moving. Like if you kept that same rhythm the whole drop, it would be real bad. It would get super repetitive, but you veered off of that rhythm and introduced us to some new cool rhythms, which is good. Over here, the Reese bass is like really aggressive and needs filtering, needs to be turned down. Especially in comparison to the synth. I mean, you can keep the Reese bass that loud, but you got to get that synth louder. That one. And this is cool flow too. Cool flow. It's sounding a little bit muddy. Like the sub sounds a little bit odd. It doesn't sound like the sub is flowing dynamically with the basses either. Kind of just feels sustained the whole time. So those are things you want to definitely fix to add more impact. Cool. Good job. I like that. Like I said, good flow. Getting that flow is probably the hardest thing in music. So if you're catching a flow, man, everything else is going to be easy to learn. Mixing, mastering, layering, songwriting, and getting people to dance is the most important thing and probably the hardest thing. So bravo, bravo. Up next, we got Siege. Hold up. It's Siege with Bone Pit. Oh, God. Bone Pit alludes to a rather violent yet sinister type of frequency. Shall he arrange the frequencies in such a way? We shall see today with the Siege play. Go! Yeah. Yes. Bone Pit. Oh man, that was kind of sinister. Ooh, you kind of delivered on those vibes, my guy. Good track name. You match the vibes with the name. That's a beauty. Okay, this is pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of energy in here. built up a really good atmosphere, good vibes. When we hit the drop, though, unfortunately, the energy is not there because you start with a halftime groove. So like you start as dancing in half the time of the BPM that you're producing. The full time is when you start playing the quarter notes. So when you play the quarter notes, da, 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 we're dancing at 140 or 150 beats per minute. The bum, 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 our head's moving like that. But at the beginning, you slow down the basses. So we can't move that way. We move like pah, 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 which is halftime. That's fine. Halftime is good. But if you start the climax of your song, which is the drop, with half the speed, then the overall energy levels are going to be very low. And you can feel it here. And it's unfortunate because you could have put the quarter notes like at the beginning. So you like start with the quarter notes, everyone's dancing, you give them that high energy dance right at the beginning of the drop, and then boom, you slow it down in the next phrase to the halftime, slow it down, and then you go back to the fast, and you go back and forth that way. You kind of did the opposite. So I would really definitely try to fix that because that is overall energy. The timing of things is really important. In metal and drum, like the drummers in rock and roll, they be playing in halftime, double time, regular time, triplet time. And we can like mix and match our timings as long as the math, you know, as long as that maths, you know what I'm saying? So remember that. Lastly, the vocals are good, but you play them like it plays the same thing over and over. So by the time we hear it here, it's like super repetitive by the time we hear it here. So just make sure all these similar vocals throughout the song are there. They can slightly be changed. They can be chopped up in different ways. You can add effects in different ones. Like make sure they're kind of all unique so you get some new stuff. Or if you have the guy's same voice to have say something different, those are goals. You know, those are goals. That's why you guys should be using your own vocals, because you can make 1 billion vocals. Who cares about 1 million when you have 1 billion? Okay. All right. Good job, Siege. Naturally and casually. Up next, we got Benz or Benzi. This is an Excision and Wooly Evolution Benzi remix. Benz remix. Put your pronunciation in the chat. Let's get it done. That's a mammoth. That's woo woo. Oh, that's woo woo.
I've been on my shit. Where the fuck you been? Throwing balls in the pit. You ain't jumping in. They put me in a cage, turned it to a snake. All I spit is fire to the base. Let it burn your face.
Rubbish. Give me some.
I've been on my shit. Where the fuck you been? Throwing balls in the pit. You ain't jumping in. Break my neck with grace. Give me some space. Every time I throw down to the base, let it burn your face.
Mammoth. Tarno. It's a dinosaur. Dinos. Okay, cool. That's Decision and Ruli. Evolution. Benz remix. Like Mercedes. You know what it is and what it ain't. All right, cool. So overall, this is a really good track to remix because like it's just so cool. I mean, listen to this. Like the overall atmosphere and energy of picking a track like this is really good. So that's nice. But honestly, it sounds like you need to be working a lot more on, like, if you're starting to just do remixes right off the rip, you're going to be focusing on like the wrong things, you know? You're focusing on like songwriting and composition when really you need to be focusing on your sound design and your mixing and your mastering, because we're going from like a professional sounding track here and then we get to your production and it starts to sound completely different frequency spectrum wise and stereo image wise. So like, for example, the sub, the most important frequency of our mix, which is 100 hertz and below, is very low volume. It's very weak compared to these super loud sounds that you have playing above them. And if you can pay attention to, the sub actually does not take a break either. It just keeps playing. So even in these call sections, it's still being sustained the same way as it is in these sections. So now I'm mentioning this because the sub, if it's just being sustained this whole time, the energy level of the actual bass is not going to be as intense. We need dynamic shifts. The sub should be moving the same way that the mid basses are above it, and it should also be having dynamic shifts. So like from loud to silent, back to loud, and when you go back to loud, that's when it gets more impactful. So one of the main problems here is your call and response is actually doing the same thing. The call is being sustained, and then you're going into the response, which is also sustained. So we're not moving back and forth between anything. We're just doing the same type of rhythm over and over again. So first off, there isn't a call. We need a call right off of, like right at the start. So like this is the pre-drop. This is not your call. And as soon as yeah, so oh gosh. So like the way you made it, you actually extended your fake out and you made your pre-drop the call, because the snare's here. But before the snare happens, we have to have the call. But instead you have the pre-drop happening. It's supposed to be like, all I drop is bum, 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 bum. You're missing a whole section in between these. And because of that, like the overall energy and flow is, like I said with the other song earlier, it's like almost half the energy as it should be, because we've lost that transition element into the most important part of the song. So you throwing us straight into the response, that's a fill. Getting thrown back into the response. So there's no call. Now, if you like start to reference songs like this, like Resurrect songs, Lay's songs, you'll start to see that they have the timing strategically placed so that they can add as much bounce and groove and movement as possible. And this is like, you were super close to getting it. When we listen to this section, then you start to hear more of a call and a sustain. I'm sorry, a call and a response. So this is the call, the dun. Now, even though the basses are going bump, 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 quarter note, there's a sustain in the back. So overall, this rhythmic section is a sustained section. And then this is the call, which goes back to a sustain. So we're actually not moving or shifting dynamically, and it's just static and constant, which means we're not going to be able to dance to it. So energy levels are very low because of that. You really want to look into getting the bounce and the groove proper. 4-bar phrases is what you're going to be working in. So like at the beginning of your, right as soon as the drop starts, it's a 4-bar phrase. And let's go ahead and see how long this is. Okay, so whenever you build up, you're going to be building in 8 and 16 bar sections, and as soon as we hit the first drop, there's going to be a 4-bar phrase, and within the 4 bars, you have your call, your response, and the fill. And before this 4-bar phrase, that's when the pre-drop should happen. But right now, it's almost like the pre-drop is part of the 4-bar phrase. And the reason I know is because of the snare location. This is the first kick. So the kick starts the drop, which is the downbeat. This is supposed to be a call, but it's actually been replaced with the pre-drop. So all you do is just put the pre-drop here instead, and then make a new, unique, cool call sound in place of it. If this moves. Cool. And then the call sound would be right here. And basically this concept of the call, response, the 4-bar phrase has to be applied through all your phrases and all the drops so that you can add a lot more energy, intensity. Be good. Be a good time. I think that's about it. It's like this too. So once again, just throwing us into the and during these like call sections, fill sections, like do you hear how the rides are playing, the tops? Like that's kind of gluing everything together as one. We need those to be separated, and the rides and those hi-hats do a lot to add flow and groove. So if you just keep them playing constant the whole time, it's going to take over the flow of the basses, and that won't be good either. So keep those in mind too. These are easy fixes for sure. Let me know if you need help. Hit me up in the Discord or the Instagram if you have any questions about any of that. I got you. Up next, we got Le, the reptile, with Break the Rail. We shall not assemble the rail. We shall do the opposite and break the rail.
Yo. Yo.
Break the rail.
Yo.
About to break the rail. Break the rail. About to break the rail. Break the rail.
The what? Oh, okay. But I love my rail. Don't break it. I need it.
Yo.
Break the rail. Don't assemble that rail. I'm gonna break that rail. You gonna go to jail. You gonna stay in that cell. Cause you broke that rail. Damn. I need my rail. I need that rail. About to go take some rails. Just kidding, no. Got new rail. Cause I just broke my rail. I'ma assemble my rail. Then go.
Yo.
Very nice. That was Break the Rail by Le Reptile. I think this is a Frenchman submitting that dubstep debauchery, to say the least. When I hear Break the Rail, I'm thinking darkness, heaviness. I imagine the mosh pits that break my elbows and shit. 2 weeks ago. Do you guys see that picture? Jesus Christ. So the energy in the crowd is like, it's pretty fucking dark, you know? It's not bright, not happy. So as soon as I hear like some vibey chords, that's kind of the opposite of what I think of when I'm thinking of breaking that rail. So the timbre of your instruments is really important. Like the overall feeling that you're getting from your instrument is going to be something that you want to work on. So like if it's giving us a feeling like Tron, you know, that's EDM. Yes, that's house E, but it's not like dubstep-y break the rail. So you really want to try to match the energy of your track, because later on it starts to get heavier, dubstep-y. So you want to make sure that it matches. If you don't want it to match, and let's say you want to make something melodic, you just have to make sure that you have a really strong transition section, which is like the breakdown, to transition from the bright melodic energy into the darkness, which is possible. People do it all the time. Slander does it all the time. Study, reference Slander tracks, study, reference any melodic rhythm people. You'll see how they do it. Now, the most important thing I think we need to look at here is the imaging. So the main bass is very thin and not full because we're missing like the mono layer of it. It's just spread out wide. So it's only sub in the middle, no bass, and just the basses on the sides, which is not normal. If you listen to your other basses that come in at other times, they are actually playing quite proper, and they're in the middle and on the sides as well. Let's see if you can tell here. Let me find where the other sounds come in. Cool. So these sounds right here, this is an example of something really wide.
Yo.
And then something that has its mono signal still is like this sound. You can feel it's like up front and center and in front of your face where it should be. But then like we like all of a sudden open up space in the middle and it's only playing on the sides. This happens quite frequently throughout the track. So get out your Ozone Imager. It's free. start to measure how wide things are or how mono things are. With this, if you see here, this is what mono looks like.
Yo.
You want signal to be pumping through perfectly in the middle. Especially, you want to take into consideration some speakers only play mono, or some headphones only play mono. So if those convert your stereo signal to a mono signal, it'll sound really weird if everything was wide. You want something to be in the middle so that it plays good mono and it plays good stereo. So this is what mono looks like. This is stereo looks like.
Yo.
Now you'll see, like, in general, you still have a lot of space available on the left and right. So even though those basses are wide, you still can add even more width to different instruments, so you can start filling up the stereo image even more to make things sound more full.
Yo.
Cool. Overall, you have some call and response going on. But like, this transition is very like empty. It's almost silent. You need something cool here, like some zaps. You know what I'm saying? If you get like a little some pew pew, or like I always do gun cocks for some reason, but you don't need to. Like, you get yourself a little zap. You know what I'm saying? Pew pew. Hit them with a little quick little zappage. You can do anything, you know what I'm saying? Just make sure it's in time perfectly. This obviously is not in time at all. All right. LUFS, last thing. Overall, if you look at the overall volume, we're at negative 8.5 peaking. You still have room. You can get to like negative 6, negative 5. That's really where you should be with this type of genre that you're making here, so it can have as much energy as possible. That's about it. I like the track though. Good job. Remember, create more darkness. Your music theory is important. If you're just writing regular chords, you know, you're going to be making some happy vibey stuff. You want to learn how to create tension and create darkness with your scales and your chords and the notes that you choose. Usually there's not a lot of progression, you know, usually it's like more simple, sustained notes. Study how they do it, man. There's lots of different things on YouTube where you can study dark harmony, dark melody. The darkness. Up next, we got Aka Aku with one Takai. Aka Aku, one Takai is probably how you say it, so let's go ahead and get it down. All right. Alright. Oh, hold up. Bro, you got me. you took me somewhere for a little bit there, man. So like, for me, I have to like hyper analyze tracks like this because there's a lot of good in it, and then I have to figure out like what's making it, like what needs to be improved, you know. And the things I'm figuring out is like the majority of these sounds and these basses have a lot of noisy frequencies, undesired frequencies being played, especially at the sustain. It's really loud too, so like it's loud undesired frequencies. So we got to be really careful with like distortion, white noise, turning up white noise, compressing white noise. Be hyper aware of all the noise and knobs that create noise in your synths or in your audio effects, so that we can get these as clean as possible. I don't know if you know of the trees, but like psychedelic wub dubstep is really, really good. And this is kind of leaning more towards that, where we're like focused more on dynamics and movement and groove rather than the sound design. It kind of seems like you were trying to over sound design these sounds, and really you got to keep it simple. Make sure you're using lots of filter movement. You got to care with these frequencies. You got to treat them like little babies, you know. Lots of tender loving and care to all the frequencies. Don't let anything harsh come out. Like when it gets here, like these sounds, when I'm listening to it, I'm imagining them all being EQ'd and cleaned and presented in a way where they're almost more gentle, so that they can flow with everything. The dynamic shifts, the overall groove and flow is good, man. You get me lost in the sound, and it feels really nice. So if you work on your EQ, your compression, layering, and noise stacking, I think it's going to help a lot. Nice. Oh yeah, and this vocal, it's fucking sick. You could add this drum loop is empty without a sub, so I would add a sub here. This kick buildup is kind of erratic. It could definitely be simplified and worked on a bit for sure. This is also super long. So this coming in, that dynamic shift is nice, but like overall the amount of time we have to wait for it to drop to come in is just abnormal. You really want it to flow and transition well from intro to drop. That's about it. Good job. How do I say this? That was Aka Aku with the one Takai. Hi. Hoi. Up next is Billy with Suck Spitanda. Or 6 feet. It's 6 feet under. Let's go. 6 feet under. Just so you guys know, when you die, your coffin goes 6 feet under. Let's go.
Try come to the ring with a lyrical warlord. I was like, what are you under? Yeah, what are you under? 6 feet under. Man try come. What are you under? Six feet under. Yeah. 6 feet. 6 feet under.
Where my face at, dog? Shit, dog. Where my face at, dog? 6 feet under. 6 feet. 6 feet under. 6 feet under.
I'm actually big, I'm actually bad, I'm actually fucked, I'm actually mad. Man, I'm like, you're not better than them, man. Funny thing is, I actually am. Look. Yeah, man, funny thing is, I actually am.
6 feet. Under. 6 feet. Six feet under. 6 feet. 6 feet under. 6 feet. If you shall get 6 feet under. That's Billy coming in with 6 feet under. I have to say, that vocal is really carrying this whole track, undoubtedly. For some reason, this track is almost 5 minutes, which is just way too long for this song. There's nothing in this song that makes you want to listen for a full 5 minutes, unfortunately. As soon as the song comes, dude, like, it almost sounds like you added a reverb to your master and just like accidentally forgot it was on there. The amount of reverb and space that's in this song is just obscene. There's so much. It's crazy because I rarely hear something like this, but your reverb is louder and more intense than the sub. If you're layering multiple sounds and they all have reverb on it, that's a big no-no. You gotta be very careful. You also want to make sure that you're checking the decay of all your reverbs. Right now, because the reverb is so overpowering, it sounds like these sounds have lower energy. And there's a lot of nice groove and bounce that you've made in here, but it's all like overshined from all these other things, which is really unfortunate. And once we get to the end, the first breakdown, like there really isn't a reason for us to keep listening through because it was it was hard to listen to this at the beginning. This is just a jumbled mess of frequencies being sprayed at you because of the reverb space. Nothing's tight and contained. So you got to be super careful when you're actually creating these sounds, because control of space is the third part of sound. So music is made in like a sphere. The image of the sound that we're hearing is a sphere, a 3D circle, right? A sphere, just so you guys know, is going to be a volume up and down the sphere. Panning is left and right of the sphere, that's stereo image. But then the 3D aspect, the depth, is the reverb. That's the space. So like that is hyper important in your song to be able to have full control and also be aware of how much space is being created, how much space is added in your mix, and also how the reverb sounds at different volumes. So like if you turn it up a lot, the space becomes less noticeable. But if you leave it turned down, the space is still very loud compared to all the other sounds. And then that's when you can start to tell issues are going on. Remember, don't send all your tracks to the master, especially if you're having this many sounds with all these spaces. If you don't know how to EQ or compress like a god, then you should be using different mixing and mastering engineer techniques so that you can make your sounds clean and separate your frequencies properly. Otherwise, they're just going to sound like a jumbled mess being sent to one output with space that's not being contained. That's what it sounds like right here. You can visually see when we zoom out, we are almost bricked. So this song in general, it's not a tear-out song. It's a reverb song. It shouldn't be that loud. So we should not be seeing your waveform looking like this, like a brick. We should be able to visually see the dynamics of the song, similar to how we see it here. You see how we can see dynamics there, see dynamics here. That is important. If it's bricked out, it'll just sound like a wall of frequencies hitting you. When we want to be able to feel the difference between loud and quiet in the track, in the record. Cool. Otherwise, Billy, I know that you have those good flows underneath, man. I can feel them. I can feel the sound design. You just got to focus on cleaning up space. It's a big thing. Cool. Up next, we got Lodian. We got Lodian. Yeah. With abstruse or abstruse. Once again, a word I haven't seen. I need to read some books. Let's get it done. Lodian. This is all I need to see. Let's go. Oh, hey, yo, what the? Yes. Destruction. Oh my God, it's almost like Lodian and Muerte had a baby. Ah, this is good. There's so much energy and emotion and vibes and darkness while still having melodic elements. And this is just something that's really hard to do. And to see it done so beautifully is nice. This dynamic shift, beautiful. That's crazy. We're hitting -1 left, but it doesn't feel like that, that's intense. Rarely you'll get a track or a record where you can push it this loud and it's not like completely fucking your ears in half. That's nice. But if we tried to turn it up, all the way, we would probably start to get some clipping issues and distortion issues. So I would try to dial this down to -3, maybe -2.5. just so that we can push this song as loud as possible and it sounds super clean when it's super loud, because that's how it's going to be played in the club and the festivals, and that's where it has the most energy. This feels pretty empty. I mean, you have a really nice drum beat here, but there's no groove because like the lack of sub movement. Like the sub is playing, but it's kind of like playing with the kick when really it should be catching its own groove, just like how hip hop and trap music does all the time. It should be like boom, boom, boom. It should be like transitioning and moving between the different drum sounds so that this has a lot more flow and energy and dance. It would be so hard if it had that. So 808 subs, use lengths accordingly, chop them accordingly, work with your snare, work with the kick, make sure they start and end on perfect times, and make sure they're fading out in some sections. Also, make sure they're pitched in some sections, like pitched up an octave, going from boom, 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 that shit's hard. Otherwise, Lodian, this is the best track I've heard so far today. Good job. You are killing the game as usual, and I'd like to applaud you in the lack of muddiness in the drop. This is how we get it done. Good job. Up next, we have Red Phosphorus. Sorry, I'll pronounce it regular. Red Phosphorus with Nevermore demo. This is not the regular Nevermore, but yet the demo of Nevermore. Run. Dang, Billy. Bro, nice. We got some of that heavy shit. This reminds me of that YVM3 craziness. Let's check this out for the one time. Okay, first off, one thing that is an issue is like we build up and we get dropped into halftime. Overall energy levels are really low in this section. Like this is my dance beat to this. Doom, 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 doom. Like very low energy, nothing much going on. But then you like really switch up the flow and start to use dynamics in your favor. And let's check the difference here. So like this shift from like loud to quiet here is impactful. That's the dynamic shift I'm talking about. And then overall, the speed of the guns increase a lot. And like, I've never even heard this song before, but as soon as I heard that, and then you're like transitioning us into this, like I wanted it to go fast so bad, like fast triplets, and you delivered perfectly. And that's why I fucking went crazy when this played for the first time, because that's just high energy, man. And you see, like I'm bobbing regular right now. See this? Compared to this. So literally dancing half the speed. So these are things you want to think about. You want to be careful with how you're arranging things, how the energy is flowing, because we want things to be high energy. It's rare that we want it to be this slow. If you do want it to be this slow, it's fine. Just make sure it's not at the beginning of the drop. Make sure we do the fast stuff first, and then you switch it up by going slow. So we go from fast to slow. That'll be good energy levels. Nice though, dude, nice. I like the sound design. I like the guns. Definitely just work on, like I said, the halftime stuff. And then if you look at this section, like there's not really any dynamic shifts in this section, similar to like how these had. So I would work on silence, shifting the dynamics from loud to quiet back to loud. It's going to help a lot. That will get you to the level of destruction. Good job. Nevermore demo by Red Phosphorus. That's what I like to see. Up next, we got Aimbot. I need to pee though, so I'm gonna be right back. Give me it for the one time. All right, we are back in session. Up next, we have Scaniel with Aimbot. Check out the cover art. Naturally, a robot. Let's get it. Dun, 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 dun. Turn up the bass. Oh. 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 That's low. Cool. Let's scan you with aimbot, dog. Good job, good job, good job. We got some of them tear out guns coming in hot. To be honest, when we hear this flow, I did that bass face, that shitty bass face. So that is the sign of success. That's the sign of success. We need a shirt that shows someone doing the bass face, and everyone needs to know what success looks like, all right? Nevertheless, before success happens, something happens that is, I would say, not as successful. So like, this is a really nice transition. Very good vocal, but then like the timing of the fake out guns is just very abnormal. So like, you've slowed down the timing. So remember, people are dancing. People are like expecting a certain groove. Like my head is bobbing like this already. And then literally like you kill the groove right here. And that's something that you do not want to do. So remember, we're dancing in quarter note like this, but as soon as you hit here, the timing just goes completely off. And then I'm not able to dance like I just was. Then I have to stop dancing, which is a fundamental no-no in dance music. We don't want them to stop dancing. We need to transition the energy properly from one section to another. So this section here needs to be in time. Perfect triplets, eighth note triplets and quarter note triplets are my favorite. And then you can mess around that way, or you can do your quarter note flow, eighth note flow, 16th note flow. You can mess with fake out filters as well. So we're going to be removing frequencies in this section. Then as soon as the drop hits, the frequencies come back in full motion. You see here, you kind of like you were kind of doing that. Like you did a little bit of filter, it removed a little bit of frequencies, but it's not enough. We have to like have a dramatic, dynamic shift in frequencies. So it's like super loud, quiet, and then boom, hit them with the loud. I keep saying that over and over again. You got to hit them with it. So the fake outs on both sections need to be worked on that way. And the overall drop, I mean, it's all guns, right? It's just constant guns. It's one sound that you designed It's a really good sound, but you need to incorporate other tonal guns, like other guns that have a different tone, or you could incorporate like sustains. Phrases should be moving in 4-bar phrases back and forth, different sounds. If it's just guns the whole drop, the overall intensity of the gun becomes like less intense over time as the drop moves forward. So remember those things. This will help you get the get that tear out on lock, dog. Reference the Murata tracks too. Just look at what he does. If you reference his track, it'll be easy to start catching sick flows and knowing how to progress the energy as time moves on. Good job, man. Scaniel. Aimbot. Up next, we got Jack Low. This ain't Low Jack, this Jack Low with Gone. He might have been here, but now he's gone. So let's go ahead and listen and dive in. Got some vibes right off the rip. Let's go.
Get stuck on my own. Right side, it came back. This lifestyle had me wrong. Woke up and then I kicked up. I turned ghost on them, I'm gone. Kicks on and I'm gone. Head missed and I dipped and shit. Clock that it got long. Kicks on and I'm gone. Kicks on and I'm gone. Gone, 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 gone. Kicks on and I'm gone. Gone, 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 gone.
Gone.
Walk up, talk up straight, speak up, say what you say. Real in my face or the bar with snakes. Watch them fade from my wave, they cut. Walk up, talk up straight, speak up, say what you say. Real in my face or the bar with snakes. Watch them fade from my wave, they cut. Get stuck on my own. Right side, it came back. This lifestyle had me wrong. Woke up and then I kicked up. I turned ghost on them, I'm gone. Kicks on and I'm gone. Head missed and I dipped and shit. Clock that it got long. Kicks on and I'm gone. Kicks on and I'm gone. 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 Kicks on and I'm gone.
Thank you guys for coming out. My name is Jack Low. Peace. You already know what it is. Those are vibes, man. I gotta say, like, that's what EDM's about, right? Catching a vibe. You did well catching a vibe towards the end of here. We have good, progressions and melodies happening. Like it feels good. Everything is moving properly. The overall layers, though, is just very minimal. Like second drop specifically is a lot more empty than the first drop. Or is it? So there's a lot more layers and a lot more frequencies playing. It sounds full, well, more full in this section compared to this, which is an issue. We need energy to be high here. This is the beginning of the drop. So the layers need to be stacked. Your overall chords, these should be stacked with multiple saws, super saws playing at lots of different octaves. I mean, you can stack octaves a lot here. Plus, you can start adding new instruments like other keyboards, other polyphonic synths, human voices, violins, and you can turn them down and start to make like new creative stacks that start to get loud and intense, rather than just have the super saw playing, because it's usually not enough. Unfortunately, the drops, both of them, are very low energy because there's not any real movement or groove going on. You throw us straight into your main motif, so we don't really have any way to like dance here.
Kicks on and I'm gone.
So because we go straight into the which is the main like melody, we don't really have a way to go like back and forth between it. So it should be like the root note chord here, like da, and then maybe on the turnaround you have the chord go back. So we need like something unique, something different. Maybe it could even be a vocal phrase with a chord. It could be chopped up chords, for example. There's many different things that you can do, but we have to just make something unique and different so that that can play, and then we go to our main section.
Kicks on and I'm gone. Kicks on and I'm gone.
Now, one reason you know this is happening and you know there's not much of a groove happening is because like as soon as the drop starts, the sub just gets sustained right off the rip. It just keeps playing all the way through. As soon as the first snare hits, which is at the 0.3 in your arrangement, right now the snare's located here. So this is when people start dancing.
Kicks on and I'm gone.
So they hear the kick and then they wait for that snare to start dancing, because that's our rhythmic cue to headbang, basically.
Kicks on and I'm gone.
Now, if you fill up that section, the transition section between the kick and the snare, with fast sounds that are also playing afterwards, then we lose the groove between the kick and the snare. So, see how it's going like super fast? Dun, 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 dun. All you would have to do is like slow it down, maybe dun dun dun, or maybe even slower than that, dun. And then we hit the snare, and then we start going fast, and then you kind of go back and forth between like something slower than fast, and that's how you can start dancing more. It starts getting more bounce. Now the song that's playing like this one, like this sound compared to its super saw friend is a lot more overpowering. The way it's moving from left to right in the stereo image, the amount of reverb and space that it has, it's controlling the mix completely different than your super saw. When both of these are the stars of the show, the spotlights are on them, they play at different sections, but it's kind of like we're going from a low volume, low energy super saw to like a unique, cool, moving, spacey, and we kind of just want to make both of your main leads like move that much or have that much effect or be as loud as one another so that they're moving good between each other. Once again, stack that super saw, dog. And then the sub, like I said, if we just sustain it all the way through, it's not going to work. You want to like maybe have the sub not even go fully to the snare. or even have no sub, you know. You can even fade the sub to the snare. But we basically just want to have some type of transition element with the sub bass to that snare. Like even having a little bit of silence, it like adds more impact during this section. So we just want to try to make, boom, those downbeats as impactful as possible. The beginning of the drop, that's a downbeat. And then the snares, that's the next downbeat. That's a done deal, done deal. I think that is about it. Nope, right here. So like in your intro and
Walk up straight.
this is one of my favorite sections of the song. I love this vocal. This vocal is actually really doing a lot for this song. It's super good. But if you like take a step back and listen, eyes closed, you can realize that the vocal is almost like underneath or falling behind the main synths. And it almost sounds like white noise too. Yeah, there's like a synth and white noise. It's like a lot of noise is louder than the vocal. And we have to make sure that that vocal is compressed enough, is saturated enough so that it's sitting above in the mix. And it's actually, like I said, the star of the show. We don't want the white noise to be the main thing people are hearing here.
Watch them fade from my wave they cut. Get stuck on my own. Woke up and then I kicked up. I turned ghost.
That's cool. Really nice. Good job on the arps here also. But if you listen to the sub playing during the arps, it's like very muddy. It's like the sub is trying to move with it, but it's having a hard time doing it. So you really need to work on getting your sub to move proper in these faster sections. Your serum LFO will be the easiest way to control that, or audio fades would be probably the next easiest. So it sounded pretty muddy because of that. So just be careful with the sub and how loud it is and how it's moving. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, cool. That's Jack Low. That's gone. Good job. Good vibes, like I said. I felt like I was at EDC. That's what we need. EDC is in like 1 week, I think. Who's going? I know, I just sold my ticket. I'm not going. I was gonna go, but dude, I don't know if I really... This is gonna be a whole mission, man. This is like a 2-week extravaganza adventure, and I got shit to do. I gotta work. I gotta make these videos. We got things to do, my guy. Up next, Kalium or Kalium. It's Colby 47. Kalium. Chaos Theory. Let's get it done.
Another day then. Bring glory to the dark gods. My power yet grows. Will you usurp my place before the dark gods? So be it. See if you can kill me, Stone. Waste my time. You cannot escape me.
What in the Sam Van Houston? Gosh. Lots of energy, man. Whoa. Felt like I just went on my morning jog, you know. That was crazy. Good job. Okay. Lots of dynamic shifts here, guys. Every single time one of these shifts happens, as soon as the drop hits again, I basically do a bass face, you know. So like there's like many bass faces happening throughout this track. There's a lot of good phrase transitions. Like every time we transition from all these new phrases, we're like adding something new. Energy is progressing over time. And that's like one of the most important things that overall most of the tracks we all need to work on all the time is just keeping the energy level super high at the drop, but then continuing to build it all the way till the end. That is difficult, but it looks like you've achieved it pretty well here. I'm trying to think of anything that needs to be improved. Overall, like mix sounds pretty good. Like there's a lot of sounds happening at the same time, but I can tell you're EQing them, separating them. I can tell you're working on that, and I don't hear too much mud or anything. Really, the only thing is like it's just too loud. Like negative 1.5 LUFS is too loud, and it's just I can't turn it up all the way. And when people do turn it up all the way, then you're basically like setting them up for tinnitus, and it sucks when our ears be ringing all day, all the time. Like my ears are ringing right now, all the time. And that's because when I was basically going to these shows, they're just blasting these -5, -6 LUF UKF dubstep songs in 2012, 2010, and we're just jamming, no earplugs. And I did that for like 8 years, and now I got tinnitus. So now I can actually tell what's loud and what's not. When you go to audio school too, that's kind of like one of the first things they teach you is how our ears work, how frequencies go into our ears, because it affects how we create music, how we create and design sounds. And we hear frequencies differently too. So things to learn. Chaos Theory by Colium. Gosh, I wish I knew if I was saying your name right. It's good. Good job. This is the energy that we need. Just make sure that you do less on the compression, turn it down on the clippers, do whatever you need to do to get to like -3 LUFS instead of -1.5. And yeah, that is about it, because flow, dancing, that's really the most important thing here. And of course the intro and the build-ups, they all transition very well.
Even gods may die!
Yeah, like even when I first hear the drop, I'm like, oh, it's not too hard. But then like slowly and ever surely, you just keep making the energy get more intense over time. So shit's good.
Give me a challenge. Do not waste my time.
And when you change the sub right there, that's unexpected. Like now you're adding a little bit of like melody and harmony and just movement into the Very nice. Dynamic shifts could be worked on here, like, how you're doing dynamic shifts, the little silence fill sections, like that could be applied here too. Good job. Killing the game. All right. And lastly, we have Fear Unknown, the Dream Machine, version 2. I didn't even know there was a version 2. We didn't get the first version. We got number 2. Let's go.
The calm local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no way. Dream Machine. Once, I had a dream. I was stuck in a white eternal square. There's no way out. Where do I go? What do I look at? What is this dream? Oh my God. Wow. I really like this. There's a lot of different things that need to be improved upon, but just like, Jesus, like, it's almost cinematic dynamics that we got going on here. So like earlier I mentioned, we can't be super quiet. -26. That's not really good. But in his track earlier, he was doing that quiet for like a very long period of time compared to how Fear Unknown is doing it, where it's a very small sliver of time just at the beginning, and it's like adding sound effects, which is like the TV turning on or whatever, or the radio turning on, whatever that is. Super cool. Then we get into the sound. So like that type of cinematic dynamic shift is super good. That's very professional.
The calm local forecast, accurate and dependable from the weather.
And then you see like naturally this sound is already going to -12 LUFS, which is like the perfect volume for this to be at. Then we get into our track. Like just very good Foley cinematic. My favorite thing though is this. Like the amount of feeling and energy you get from going super loud to almost basically silent with just beautiful sub and noise slivers. It's just like, oh, it's so good. This is the type of shit that I want to be doing personally, is getting my sound design game up so I can do these insane cinematic transitions from intro or at the end of your drop or at the outro, like the end of, like even this outro feels so good. Just that long fade out. It's just beautiful. So these little small things make huge difference. One thing that I really think needs to be improved upon is this abrupt BPM switch. I mean, we're catching a vibe right here. We're dancing to something specific, and then you just hit us with an abrupt change in speed and rhythm, and that's very unwelcomed. Like that just, it hurts. It really hurts. Like there's no reason at all for you to be doing anything like that. Us as DJs, the first thing we learn is to be mixing in time, right? Get things perfectly in time. So if you're producing, you have the full tools and capability to be able to transition different sections in your production with like BPM automation, or picking sections where you barely notice the BPM switches. But this is a really abrupt section for you to choose to switch the BPM. So be very careful. Because of this, the energy level of the drop it's like less intense, because we only had this amount of time. Actually, we don't even have this amount of time, because we're dancing to this. And then when this hits, we have to restructure our dance. So by the time we're here, we kind of catch the flow again, and then we just get thrown into the drop. So like the timing is just very off. If you fix that, the overall drop will have a lot more energy and intensity. And then this needs a call, so you just throw us in. But we need something unique to play right before the snare, right before here. So instead of the 2 hits, like the 2 hits is already the same flow as what's here, the quarter note, bump, bump. So don't have a quarter note flow, make it sustained, or make it even faster, like triplets, dun, 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 bump, 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 like that, or ba, bump, 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 or like that. Like there's multiple options. Just don't pick the same exact rhythm to play for your call right before the response. Remember, snare starts the response. That's where we start dancing. We want to be able to catch a rhythm and groove and bounce that way. And then this dynamic fill here, as soon as this happens, things start to heat up and things get better. When we feel this huge change from loud to sick ass sound, and you just throw us into this, like that's the shit that should be happening like often. Maybe every 4, maybe every 8 bars. Look into that. Overall though, good job, man. Like this section's sick.
Fire
But do you hear like the main bass? Dun, 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 dun. It's very quiet. So I would definitely get that turned up, layer it some more, make it fit more in the mix. This shit's heavy, dude. Good job. I like this. You guys are killing it. That's how we get it done, man. That's live stream 56. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is the first Twitch live stream feedback. This is how we're going to do it all the time. Remember, Mondays, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is going to be the feedback stream. On Wednesday, I'm going to have another stream where we're just making music. Probably going to be working on some records. Maybe just randomly making stuff. You know, just catching a flow. And then on Friday, we have the beat battle. So in Discord, you can submit samples. We're going to pick a sample that's cool, and we're all going to make a song live together on Friday, same time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Follow me on YouTube. This will be up on YouTube either tonight or tomorrow so that we can review everything as well. And I think that's it, man. You guys stay fresh. Keep it real all day. Thank you for coming. Peace out. Later.